Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we've got something really exciting to talk about, a new AI model that's making some serious waves in the open source community. It's called DeepSeek-V3.2. So let's just jump right in with a big question that's been floating around the AI world lately. And really, this question is key to understanding why this new model is such a big deal. Look, the open source community has been doing some amazing work, no doubt about it. But if we're being honest, it feels like the big closed source models have been pulling away, advancing at a crazy fast pace. And that's creating this widening gap. So why is this happening? What's causing this gap? Well, the researchers behind DeepSeek actually dug into this, and they pinpointed 3 specific critical problems that are really holding open source models back. All right, let's get into what these 3 hurdles actually are. First up, you've got what's called architectural inefficiency. Basically, a lot of open models rely on older tech that's just slow and super expensive, especially when you're asking it to read really long documents. Second, there's a big resource gap. Think of it this way. They don't get that massive fire hose of computing power for fine-tuning after they're built, which is crucial. And that leads to the third problem, the agent capability gap. They're just not as good at following complex instructions or acting like a smart assistant compared to their closed-source rivals. So, to take on these exact challenges head-on, this new model was built, and it was designed from the ground up with one goal in mind, to really push the boundaries of what open-source AI is capable of. Okay, so how'd they do it? What's the secret sauce here? Well, the success of DeepSeek V3.2 really boils down to 3 key breakthroughs. And what's cool is that each one is a direct answer to one of those 3 problems we just talked about. First off, to fix that efficiency problem, they came up with something called DeepSeek Sparse Attention, or DSA for short. The best way to think about it is like this. Instead of reading a whole book from cover to cover just to find one piece of information, you use the index to jump straight to the right page. It's a much smarter, way more targeted way for the AI to focus. And the impact of this in the real world? It's huge. Just look at this chart. You can see the cost just plummets. We're talking about a dramatic reduction. The new model costs just a tiny fraction of what the old one did to process long chunks of text. And that's a game changer for making powerful AI more efficient and, more accessible to everyone. All right, second breakthrough. To close that resource gap, they built what they call a scalable reinforcement learning framework. Now, what does that mean? It means they threw a massive amount of extra computing power at the model after it was already built. We're talking more than 10% of the original training cost. And this was all just to refine it and make it smarter. And that extra investment, it pays off big time. This isn't just about making the model a tiny bit better. We're talking about unlocking completely new levels of performance, especially when it comes to those really tough reasoning and problem-solving challenges. And the third big idea, to boost those agent capabilities, this one is incredible. They built this pipeline that automatically cooks up training scenarios on a massive scale. We're talking over 85,000 complex problems across 1,800 different digital environments. It's basically a giant training ground that teaches the model how to use tools and think its way through really complex interactive situations. So the key here is that this system isn't just dumping facts into the model. It's teaching it how to think and how to act. The AI learns to reason its way through a problem and figure out which tools it needs to use. And that makes it so much more capable out in the real world and way better at handling new tasks it's never encountered. Okay, all this tech sounds amazing on paper, right? But the real question is, how does it actually perform? Let's take a look at the results. So when you put it to the test on some really tough reasoning and coding benchmarks, DeepSeek V3.2 absolutely holds its own against the giants. I mean, its performance is right up there, super competitive with, and in some cases, shockingly close to the top-tier proprietary models. But the team didn't stop there. They wanted to see just how far they could push the reasoning abilities. So they created a special high-compute version and just kept training it. And the results are just wow. This Speciale version went on to achieve gold medal level performance in some of the world's most difficult math and programming competitions. We're talking the absolute peak of human competition. For an open model to do this, that's a massive milestone. So let's zoom out. What does all of this really mean for the bigger picture, for the future of AI? Well, what it all comes down to is this. DeepSeek V3.2 proves that with the right approach, open source AI can do more than just keep up. It can seriously challenge the very best models out there. It's closing that performance gap, it's giving us a powerful and much cheaper alternative, and it's a huge statement that open source is ready to compete at the very highest level. The researchers themselves put it perfectly. They called it a bridge connecting that super high efficiency with top-tier advanced reasoning. And really, that's exactly what they set out to do. Now, of course, the work isn't over. And to their credit, the paper's really upfront about the limitations. There's still a bit of a gap in general world knowledge, and it's not quite as efficient as some other models. But the good news is, they have a clear plan to tackle these things, mostly by scaling up training even more and continuing to tweak their recipe. And that brings us to a really exciting question, doesn't it? Could the next AI revolution actually be open source? Because breakthroughs like DeepSeek V3.2 really make you wonder. It points to a future where the most powerful AI isn't locked away behind corporate doors, but is built by a global community, for everyone. And that's a pretty powerful idea.